Hi, I'm Mary Brody, and I'm the author of Revenue or Relationships Win Both. In this video today, we're going to be discussing the details about automated individualized experiences. Now, these experiences are typically found online in websites or apps, but they could be in a kiosk or an ad in print, video, web, or even audio. They're experienced by the reader or viewer alone on their own time, and the effectiveness of the experience can be tracked through clicks, screen scrolling, or length of time on a page or watching a video. Metrics are typically the customer's response and communication to let the company know what its interests are in a communication about a product or a service. It's a general way to connect with a large audience. The design of these items is based on personas, which helps segment audiences based on similar needs and motivations. The goal is to provide information for these groups so they move to the next step in the process or relationship building process. It's typically not a highly personal experience, except if it's addressing a transactional need. We just aren't at a stage yet technically where this could be more personal and collaborative through automatic means. Human intervention is still required for collaboration. Now, this video today isn't an insights video where you can discover the connection between ideas and get some revelation or epiphany. It really is a resource video to guide you while you create your plans. It will provide instruction about what these types of experiences are, how you can use them, and how you can measure their effectiveness. Now, this video includes information that's found in the book, Revenue or Relationships Win Both, to guide you in using different communication methods to achieve specific goals as defined in your customer relationship lifecycle strategy. And that's going to help you and your company build better customer relationships. Now, automated individualized experiences are one of 4 quadrants that I outline, and the quadrant chart presents how you can look at communication approaches as conversation methods and engage customers and build customer relationships in business. Now, you could say that this quadrant chart helps you develop a content or customer communication strategy, because what is content but a way to have a virtual conversation with a customer? Now, the quadrant defines these conversation methods using 2 axes. Now, on one axis, we map the delivery method of communication, which could be anything from in-person interaction between people to an automated or digital experience within a system. On the other axis, we map if an experience is immersive, where an individual experiences people, a collection of content, or a product or service directly, or they have a direct individualized experience with a single other entity, a person or a system, which allows for a greater personalized experience. Now, automated digital individualized experiences are both self-guided yet one-sided. I say self-guided because the user can interact with a system or item on his or her own time. And I say one-sided because the company designs and distributes an experience and/or communication, mainly in a print or web medium, and the customer responds to the company through their own selections. It is only the company talking, and the customer is responding and communicating through clicks and taps. Actions are the basis for communication on that customer side. Now, you can build empathy or compassion for your customers through this communication method based on the metrics you receive from the activities. However, you can't get that insight or the customer to feel that emotional connection if you don't design a website or kiosk with empathy and compassion in mind. That's why it's necessary to have these personas, to understand what will help a customer connect to your solution, how do they view the problem you solve, and how are they motivated to solve that problem. So who creates this type of content? Now, most often these content pieces are created by companies, but these experiences can also be created by customers or influencers to share. Some examples of company-generated content activities include websites, email marketing campaigns, and digital ads. Traditional advertising can be included in the mix if we consider an ad as being a self-guided snapshot experience of a company or product in a magazine, a billboard, or some other location. Customer or influencer-generated content could include forums, customer stories, or testimonials. All of these types of content require that you experience it yourself as video, audio, or text and pictures. Others can't have the experience for you. Now, the benefit from this approach is that the customer can discover who the company is and what it does, as well as how it could solve their problem in their own time. There's no pressure to take any next steps or actions. It's stress-free, like the old-fashioned brochure. Customers read the information and your company puts the next step in the customer's hands so they can take it when they're ready. And that's the point here. It's a great method to use when people want to get information while researching a solution and aren't just ready to make that decision. They don't want to feel the pressure of someone directly asking them to take a next step in a purchase journey and buy. They want to keep that decision to do that open when they feel ready on their own time in the future. However, this does have challenges. The experience needs to be pre-planned, constructed, and that means that naturally it's limited. If a user has a concern, question, or need outside of the defined experience, there's no way to address it unless it's already constructed within the experience itself. The individual would need to initiate a conversation on their own. The company loses all control of this process. Now, the question a company needs to ask itself at this point, is that bad? No, I would say no. When you let the customer choose you rather than you pursue the customer, you know that they've converted on their own. They are making the choice to use your product and build a relationship with your company. And this works in your favor in the future for repeat purchasing, loyalty, and more. There's no perceived coercion or manipulation. It's all based on choice, and that makes this ideal. So how do we define success for this method? Well, you could consider indicators of success being high clicks, visits, and sign-up rates. For print, we could say that we are destined for success if the placement has high potential views. Additionally, we can measure the distribution of the information and the views themselves. But we can gain more insights about the content if we broaden our measurement beyond quantitative methods. Now, I usually consider 3 methods of measurement to get a complete picture of how the conversation and interactions are progressing: quantitative and qualitative methods, as well as content analysis. I like to know not just if customers are watching a video or reading an ebook or whatnot, but if that asset is inspiring a conversation to occur with the customer through social media, a store visit, or even a phone call. That to me is true success. That's why I think these approaches together help determine if a tactic is truly contributing to the conversation and achieving your goals. Now, what types of metrics can we use to determine success? Now, there are the standard quantitative metrics, like how a user engages on the medium through clicks on the site, time on the site, date of visit, number of visits, potential views, all of that. However, someone could use content analysis to determine the type of content, subject matter, and even presentation that gets the most interactions and later discover perspectives of how the visitor feels about the constructed experience through surveys in a qualitative approach. Since we are familiar with many quantitative methods to measure success for automated content, let's consider what some of the other methods offer. Now, with content analysis, we can discover which link keywords the customers most frequently select to get more information, or identify the page topics that are most frequently read. We could consider which topics get more support, or the tone that resonates most. Now, for qualitative research, you could have a survey or focus group discussions to discover how customers perceive your company's brand and values, and if they understand actually what you do. It would be great to discover how they learn this information as well. So what can you learn from this research? Well, there's 3 things. 1, which types of content do people access regularly? 2, what topics do they want to learn more about? And 3, how do people perceive your product? Now, to wrap up, people need space to figure out what your company is, what it does, how it works, and how your solution, your product or service can ultimately change their lives. They need time to consider the impact this decision to purchase will have on their life, on their families' lives, or their fellow employees' lives. They may want time alone to do this. In companies, we often forget that not every prospective customer wants to have a conversation with your employees right away. It's like going to a bar and meeting new people. You get to know people and have conversations with no expectations. And that's what automated individualized digital experiences are: a one-sided conversation with no expectations except someone having the ability to get to know your company and solution or your product and service. Customer clicks and taps communicate to the company what they're interested in learning more about. Sometimes that's all that's needed to have a conversation at that time. But in addition to offering content that can be accessed on their own time, you need to include a way for the reader or viewer to emotionally connect with your company's materials. This is why customer stories are so effective. They come with emotional engagement included in the experience. Otherwise, you need to understand the motivations and true problems of your target audience so that you can emotionally engage with them in your communications and motivate them to take that next step in the buying process. This means that they need to understand how your solution, your product or service, will help him or her solve their problem and help them place a greater priority on solving their problem in their lives. This is a great way to distribute information and build initial trust. However, other methods may be better suited to engage your customers in their specific circumstances, and we'll be reviewing those next. I hope this is helpful. Thanks, and have a great day.